start with the pledge. Sound good?
It's good.
Raise the flag. Thank you, Bill. Pledge allegiance.
To the flag.
United
Yes.
States of America.
And to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible,
Indivisible,
liberty
liberty and
and justice for all. Thank you. Okay, I guess we could do a roll call for the boat members and then we can
All right,
proceed into the meeting.
okay, members of boat, Chairman Cassetti,
Present?
Mr. Jaskilka,
Present.
Mr. Maloney,
Present.
Mr. McTighe, Mr. Papson,
Present.
Mr. Smersnak. So 4 present and 2 absent. And the Aldermanic Finance Committee members, Mr. Mamone, Mr. King, Ms. Stroman, Mr. Genetti, and Mr. Rivers. They may be here or not.
Trish, I just want it noted for the Finance Committee, it was never officially noticed and agended out. So therefore,
Right,
you know,
right.
we're here in attendance. Unfortunately, it's not an official meeting for the Finance Committee, so we will be listening along. And
I just thought I would note your attendance in the minutes.
yeah, we will jump on and get the official agenda out for the next joint meeting with boat. But unfortunately, this is we'll be listening, but this is the boat show.
Got it.
A boat show. Okay, it looks like, I don't know, I see 19 participants on my end. We want to allow everybody time to ask questions, express their concerns. You know, we'll hear your questions. Not sure we can answer all of them, but we got some finance members here. I see Rich and Kim are here. Thank you for being here. And let's try to keep it, you know, to like 3 minutes. If we need to go a little longer, fine. I know there's department heads may need more time. That's fine too. So with that, we can, I guess, kick it off. And if there's anybody wishing to speak,
Mr. Chairman, I also, City Attorney John Marini, just
Oh,
want to
okay.
point out for the record,
Welcome,
you know, just
John.
for
Yes.
clarification, thank you. You know, this is of course a public hearing. There's no scheduled meeting, so we're just here for the purpose of the hearing. So it's not a Q&A. Meeting is being recorded for the record. But this is not a traditional meeting. It's just to hear from the residents, to record the comments. And I believe, Mr. Chairman, you're going to be putting out a schedule of the upcoming meetings to actually discuss the budget. And of course, all of those will be public meetings going forward.
I'll mention where we're at on our meetings that I've agreed to with my board members that we met earlier this week, and we'll run that at the end of this meeting before we adjourn. Okay, so I don't know, David Papson could help us if we need to show anything, you know, as far as the budget sheets, if we need to do that. And then, you know, if somebody can, Trish or whoever, with people that are willing to speak, I don't know that I could see them on my end or allow them, but.
Who's in charge of it? John?
I could coordinate if anyone would like to speak, simply raise your hand or make yourself known otherwise. We just ask that everyone, when you're not talking, please stay on mute. If you can mute yourselves, helps everyone be heard, to be respectful to those speaking. But if you'd like to speak, you could put up your little electronic hand. There is an option to do that, or you could simply try to get our attention right now. You know, obviously, if we all try to be respectful of each other, it'll work out smoothly.
Thank you, Mr. Marini.
And I see a good number of participants, but I do not see any little electronic hands raised yet. So again, if you want to talk, but you don't know how to do that, there are a couple options you could use. You could send a message out to the group or to me that you want to talk, or you could simply just start talking right now and signal to us.
Chime in and yes.
And every speaker, please state your name and address for the record before you begin your comments as per our normal public hearing rules.
I could start it off if I may, Mr. Chairman.
Sure, go ahead, Mr.
This is Bill Phipps,
Alderman Phipps.
27 Johnson Street. And I was reading the budget today while going through it. It's sort of sick to say I was reading it. I don't have anything else to do. But I just happened to notice that in the fire department budget area, I didn't see a provision for the fire department secretary, who I believe is Fran Jaskilka. Not Fran Jaskilka, Fran, the other Fran. I don't know if that was an omission or it's somewhere else, but that was the only observation I had. It's one of the expense items that's carried from year to year, and I didn't see it. That's it.
Okay, we'll look into that. Thank you for that. We haven't done a deep dive at this point, but that's something I'll make note of and we'll look into that. I don't know if anybody from finance knows, Kim or Rich may have any knowledge on that. If
I'd
not,
say,
we'll.
Mr. President, also, not a question and answer. So I think all
Sure,
comments could be
sure.
noted. Certainly, this entire proceeding is also going to be recorded for
Got
review.
it, okay.
But I think in terms of discussion, that's for our later meetings. But this is for the purpose of
Right.
having a hearing and, of course, getting all the questions, all resident concerns on the table.
Thank you.
And residents and any speakers, residents or not, should know that any comments put on the record will be able to be addressed by Bo and the Alderman as we go along.
I have a question.
Make your statement, your name and your address, please.
Okay, Joe Genetti, Jr., 2 Gracie Lane, Ansonia, Connecticut.
Hi, Joe.
Alderman, how are you? How's everything, Gary?
Good, thank you.
Gary, just a quick question. With this money that the government is giving the state, which I guess other cities are getting some money, did they have any indication or any idea what Ansonia will be getting as far as helping us? I know they're talking about giving money to education and stuff for some of the fees they had to pay for that were over and above for the pandemic.
Right.
Did they give you any indication on that?
I have not seen anything as far as numbers, but the finance people are in working with the state folks, and right now all I think I heard recently through the grapevine is that they haven't really locked in on exactly what they're going to be sending our way. So,
Okay. Hopefully we'll get some, because
yeah,
it'll tremendously help us
absolutely.
with some of the expenses that we had to deal with this pandemic. It shouldn't be on the taxpayers alone. I mean,
No,
hopefully we'll get some help.
I'm pretty certain they're gonna do something for us.
Okay, Gary, thank you.
Sure, thank you, Joe. Any department heads wishing to speak? I don't see anybody, but other than that, anybody else? Concerns?
My name is Jennifer Lester. I'm the library director. I actually, I'm not exactly 100% sure how this works. If I can just state my concern on our section of the budget. I don't know if that's something that I do now or if I do that in later meetings.
Well, you can join us at later meetings if you want to make a comment or express a concern to the board. We'll include it in our reviews.
Okay. I just wanted to note that the budget that I submitted, I did notice some severe cuts to our budget. And I just hope that this board can allow me the opportunity to you know, grant me the funds that I'm requesting because they're very minimal to begin with. And that's all I need to say for right now.
Sure. Okay, well, we're going to be scheduling some meetings and you'd be able to come in and speak to the board and express your concerns further, and we'll take it all, like I said, into consideration.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Sure.
Gary, it's Beth Lynch. I was just in
Hi, Beth.
regard to Bill's question about the fire. There's a line item that says secretary to chief. I don't know if that's the same as what he's asking about, but it's the second line item under the fire department wages. So I don't know if that answers his question, but.
Yeah, I was looking into that too under the fire line items. I saw it's listed there for 1,000. Bill, I didn't know if that was what you're referring to either, if it was maybe like the commission secretary.
You know, I saw that, Dave. I think that's an additional line item. The chief has his own secretary, because I think Fran Jezelitis gets more than $1,000 a year, because that's one of the busier commissions in town that requires secretarial input. So anyway, I'm sure you guys can dig into it.
We'll look into it, yeah.
Yeah.
Hi, this is Dan King. I just had a Alderman First Ward. I just had a comment. It's not, I don't want to sound like a criticism, but this past week, the internet, the community page, Facebook, I've heard so much discussion, so much criticism, critiques, concerns about the budget, things that people wanted, whether it's funding for the library, dog parks, play fields, schools. Now, when it's the opportunity to actually present it in public to the officials that are going to handle it, I'm hearing nothing. I expected to have a lot of feedback tonight, and I've got to say, I'm kind of disappointed because I was looking forward to hearing with everything that's happened in the past year. It's a different world, and we're trying to accommodate everything. And I was hoping to get, input, answers, suggestions, find out what the real concern is rather than me having to go on, a community page or somebody's Facebook page to find out what's bothering them. It's just a disappointing interaction. I expected, this to go on and hear people speak for the rest of the night, but then again, it's a missed opportunity. It's a shame.
Well, maybe we'll hear a little bit more in our reviews, concerns, but we'll see what happens. Anybody else looking to talk, or?
Right, it's the Chief Coda from the Police Department. How is everyone this evening?
Good evening, Chief.
Good evening. I just wanted to point out, we submitted our budget. Obviously, there's been some tweaks to it and adjustments that we would really like to discuss. And most importantly, it concerns the funding of police officers to be able to fill those spots as quickly as we can when we do have that we do have some openings, and that we can keep our staffing up to par. Additionally, we've asked for some other things that may be contractual to work along with the police accountability bill. So I did submit those. I put that information in there. I'm sure there's going to be quite a bit of discussion as we move forward. on that. But, most importantly is definitely, we really need to pay close attention to the staffing of police officers. We did ask to get our third lieutenant back into the ranks. And at this point, it's not in there, but we're going to continue to look for that. We really need some assistance here to be able to do that. But we did have some talks with Mr. Miller to get some answers, to some questions. And I look forward to working with the board to answer questions and see where we can get on this budget to make sure we have the appropriate staffing and funding to move forward.
Okay. Okay, we'll definitely, be talking to you in more detail in a future meeting in regards to your needs. No, mate, well, it's like we're going on a little past 6:45. I figure maybe some stragglers would be logging in, wanting to join the meeting and maybe ask some questions. So we'll hang in there for a few more minutes, and if nobody has anything else, we can look to adjourn. But I did, want to mention at the end that, we got a schedule as far as, the hard part about this with the budget season is trying to get the people that volunteer to be on these boards and sacrifice their personal time, trying to get everybody, that's got the same time slot available to make these meetings seems to be the hard part about all of this. So, I spoke with a couple of the board members. We have to work in quorum. So, we came up with a set of 3 meetings that'll be starting next week. And, we'll go through the reviews. We're going to, definitely have the PD in and Public Works. And then anybody else who thinks they need to come in and, speak with the board with their concerns and requests during those 3 meetings. Right now, we're tentatively set for 3 meetings. Hopefully, we'll get it done in that amount of time. We're going to be working on it on our own, so that when we do get together, we can, make good use of our time together and have productive meetings and get to the end of it so that we can, present it to the Board of Alderman finance members who hopefully are going to be able to work with us on our schedules that I put together for both. And that way we get things done in time. I don't know that the finance has everything they need from the state as far as, on the revenue side with grants and everything. I don't know where the state is with finance. I know there was a little concern about that. That was mentioned to me, but
We're still waiting. We're still waiting on some numbers from the state, Gary.
Yeah. And depending on how, what size of a piece of pie that is, we may have to, wait till we get that information to fully know. But we can definitely go into the departments and get the expenses down with some possibility of changes to the revenue and grant information we get from the state. So.
Oh, Gary, this is John. I have a question.
Yes, sir.
On the police, last year they passed new laws that are going to cost the police expenditures to increase. Has it been adjusted, and have they adjusted for that yet?
I didn't, you were cutting in and
there were last year they passed laws for the police departments. They have to have certain items.
Yes. Yeah.
That has been.
That's what Chief sort of had in his question as well.
Okay.
Concerns about some of that as well. Yeah.
Okay.
Like with
Chief,
body cams and such.
Yeah, if I can touch base, we did submit that stuff in there based on what we knew was coming forward, body cameras, police video, police cameras in vehicles. and some other things, some officer wellness testing, drug testing and such. So that's been submitted in the budget based on the best figures that we had at the time, but they're pretty solid, just so you're aware.
Sure,
And
good.
that accounts for the increase, right, chief?
A percentage of it, yes. And now there's,
Yeah.
as I said before, looking to make sure we have, our staffing so we can move forward with that. But yeah, we did include what we know, what we're aware of at this point for those tests, those extra costs related to police accountability bill.
Sure, that's all you could do with the information you have. You take your best shot at it. And
Thank you.
well, we're 20 minutes in. I don't know if anybody has anything else that they want to express to the board. And if not, we can look to adjourn in the next few minutes and the remaining board, my board, we could either meet afterwards or we can stay online after this, the rest of the people leave and try to, and just let finance know what our schedule is. And I'm going to send that out. And then we'll distribute an email soon. Hopefully by this weekend, I'll get it to you guys. If not, by the end of the day tomorrow, I can send an email out with the schedule. I got to run it through, just can reconfirm it, and then we'll submit it to the town clerk to set it up.
And Mr. Chairman, there's no meeting, so you could certainly,
Right.
as chairman, submit the schedule.
I use the word meeting, but the review process where we're going to get together.
Oh, used workshop.
Well, not really a
There's- Yeah,
workshop.
there's
but
no, for
review.
clarification,
Review, okay.
there's no such thing as workshops.
Right.
Every time this board gets together to discuss the budget, it's a meeting, and which
It's
is
a
going to
meeting.
require an agenda and notice, and it's going to have to
Right.
be on Zoom. But the chairman, of course, has the ability to set meetings at any time. And so he's going to put out a schedule of dates soon for the public to look at. That way you'll be able to plan going forward.
Okay.
All right, it's Beth again. Can I just ask a question? Does there have to be another public hearing when the aldermen
Yes.
approve the budget?
Before the aldermen approve the budget, they must hold a final hearing before a final
Okay.
vote.
Maybe, I know, Dan, it's mentioned about there's not, participation. Maybe in one of the next community phone calls, we could include that date when the public hearing's going to be.
It's a good idea.
So the residents would be aware of it, because most people, if they don't check something online the day it's posted,
I think we
good
did that last year. And
Yeah, that's a good idea to do.
It
And
really make a difference.
I'd say we also have to thank the Valley Sentinel. I think they're here tonight for running an article on this hearing.
We did that already.
So
right.
thank you, Valley Sentinel.
Yeah.
I think that's what we did the last few years, right? We always had a meeting before approving it
Right.
with the public.
Mhm.
All right. Wrapping it up now.
Okay, final call. Anybody?
Well, thanks, Gary.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, Tony.
Have a good night.
Yep, you too.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Thanks, Gary.
Thank you all. Thanks for joining us.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Right.
Good night.
Have a good night.
Oh, one.